I have seen, I have seen a very clear understanding of the practice or the tradition. And those, even from the south, if they don't understand the tradition, are the ones who immediately jump on the bandwagon of gender discrimination. Now, I will not get into let's say logic, I will not get into Shastra, I will not get into anything. So I will simply throw a couple of numbers at you. Assume for a moment that there are 500 temples dedicated to Dharmasastha and Ayyappa across the country, and there is only one temple which observes this particular restriction. Is that an example of discrimination or is that an example of diversity? Answer loudly. Diversity. You have to ask yourself, when the facts are so clear, why is it that this issue has been distorted to this extent? That this beautiful place, that this sacred temple has become the center of such an ugly controversy. It is not disconnected from the topic or the theme of my topic because it is ultimately a question of identity. I see the movement supporting the tradition of the Sabarimala temple as a movement of assertion of the indigenous identity, which is basically saying, stop looking at us from the lens of an outsider, stop looking at us from the lens of a Britisher, stop looking at us from a colonial lens. You don't understand us, therefore you do not reserve the right to judge us, is the basic point of this entire movement. Can you decide or pass a comment on something unless and until you understand it? Can you make a comment on physics or mathematics or even classical music or Carnatic music or dance form on its technicalities unless and until you're a student of that particular subject? Is it possible? Yes or no? Will you ever make the mistake of speaking on a subject that you're not aware of? Then how is it that so many of us have such fantastic opinions on this particular issue without knowing what the tradition is about? That is the fundamental question that you must ask yourselves. It is possible that most of us believe that this generation is vastly superior in its intellectual capacity to its ancestors. It is possible for us to believe that we know better than our fathers, our forefathers, our ancestors. And it is possible that we believe that we worship logic and reason much more than everybody else did because they were superstitious idiots. Assume for a moment that is the case. Then of all the people, the burden is on you to ensure that you never open your mouth on a subject unless and until you are informed of the facts. Yes or no? So the next time, even if you're not aware of the tradition or you're not aware of the facts, but somebody chooses to shoot from the hip or comment, and he's not in a position to back it up, do you have at least a semblance of duty to ask him what is the basis of his opinion or her opinion? I would say so. If we are comfortable making fun of our own traditions because we believe it's superstition, then the question is, do we have a problem with the tradition or do we have a problem with the question of superstition? If we have a problem with superstition, regardless of where it comes from, you must be in a position to question it. Yes or no? And regardless of the number of people who hold that particular opinion, because if you decide to raise questions only if the number of people on the opposite side is less, then that will make you a coward. Yes or no? If there are more people opposing you and you do not have the guts to raise the question, then clearly it's a position of convenience. Yes or no? So when the media constantly talks about this particular issue, honestly touch your hearts and tell me how many of you decided to voice your opinion on social media, asking what is the basis of the media's opinion. How many of you decided to use your platforms, your Twitter handles, your Facebook platforms, or WhatsApp groups, or all the favorite platforms for, they say, this particular generation, to ask them these fundamental, simple questions? Why? Because the issue does not affect you. It doesn't concern you. Had this been a campaign with respect to a non-dharmic institution or a non-Hindu institution, would some of us have not felt that this is unfair treatment to a minority religious institution? We would have. Yes or no? It's not wrong. If you see injustice happening to any institution, regardless of its faith, you have a right to question it. There's no doubting it at all. Whether it's minority or majority really doesn't make a difference. But you would have raised your voice, yes or no. But when it comes to your own institutions, there is a fundamental reluctance to stand up for it. Why? Is it because you're ashamed of your identity? Is it because you're ashamed of your history, your traditions? But how can you be ashamed of something if you don't understand it? Then neither should you be proud of it, nor should you should be ashamed of it. But why is your default setting that of being embarrassed? If you do not understand something, then the point is you must be undecided about it, correct? Then neither should you be pro or con, for or against. But the default setting seems to be always against in most places when it comes to our own traditions. That goes to the question of identity. The root of this particular issue is identity. The reason why I keep using this word like a stuck gramophone for the last half an hour is that as days go by and as time passes, you will realize that this particular word, this particular concept, this particular construct is going to be at the center of every national discourse. And there is not going to be a single issue that is going to affect your life which is devoid of its relationship to identity.